let's talk a little bit about Drake. In fact, let's talk about Mos Def, aka Yasiin Bey.
Hey, baby.
He would be ashamed of you for doing that
Yep.
at his
And I don't
at
care.
his new name.
Unlike Drake, I do not care.
Well, Yasiin Bey said that Drake was not hip hop. He said that Drake is pop. Something I've said before, and it's viral. And of course, when things go viral, you know who catches wind of them?
Drake himself.
Drake himself. That is correct. Tell
Yeah.
him what he's won, Johnny.
Listen, Drake was like, but Method Man said.
And so Drake responded by
Mm-hmm.
reposting an old clip of Method Man. What was that?
I said
Quote
responded
unquote, right?
because it wasn't an actual direct response to. He didn't say anything about seeing what Yasiin Bey said.
Right.
He simply posted something and then left a little message that makes you think that that's what he's referring to.
Yeah. That's what he did. And so he reposted an old message, an old video of Method Man saying that hip hop is what?
Passive aggressive.
Yes, it is passive aggressive, shady, petty behavior, aka everything that we know Drake already does. And Drake went up there and reposted the video. Method Man is saying in the video, hip hop is the way you perform, hip hop is a lifestyle, hip hop is the way you dress, hip hop is the way you talk. Old clip of Method Man. Drake said nothing in words. That is the repost that he put up in response to Mos Def uh, and what was said on the show. What are your
He used
What are your thoughts?
Well, he used words.
You got a caption?
He did use words, but he didn't use any direct language directed at Yasiin Bey.
What do you say?
Drake says, what Umi say again? Let me shine my light, King. Don't change up now. And then he puts the crying, laughing emoji. That's what he put on top of the video of Method Man. He said, let his light shine. There is a... Oh, no, that's Common. Never mind.
Yes.
I was going to try to make a connection that doesn't exist. So, oops. I'm tired. I have a headache. Anyway. Drake. I'm not mad at Drake for this. I kind of agree with Method Man.
Okay.
I think that Yasiin Bey's reaction to Drake and him saying that Drake is pop, I don't think it's right the way people get put in boxes. You putting on your glasses for
Go
that?
ahead. I'm looking for something.
I don't think it's right the way people get put into boxes when they cross genres. And I think that the conversation around pop music is very convoluted. I feel like in the culture, we put people in the pop category sometimes as a negative thing. And it's not, it's a flex. But I feel like sometimes when we want to other certain people in the music industry who also cross R&B or also cross hip hop, they get put in this they it's almost like pop becomes a derogatory term. And the reality of the situation is the ones who are considered pop are the definition of what popular music is, right? And the issue is that we're now saying the genre that you're a part of or the genre that your music is rooted in no longer matters or exists. Now you're just a pop artist and that's it. I think that's a little bit unfair. And I think that Drake is absolutely a rapper and Drake is absolutely hip hop. He may do other things and he may do other interesting things. And by interesting, I mean, yes, he sings on his songs. He may not be a great singer or anything like that, but he's created a whole style of music like of his own. I'm not I'm not saying I love all of Drake's music. I'm not saying that he's my favorite. I think I've made it very clear publicly that I don't love everything that Drake does. In fact, I'm often disappointed by Drake in recent years. But I also think it's probably really frustrating for him as an artist to have to defend being a hip hop artist. And I do think it is a culture and it is something that you're allowed to innovate and you're allowed to create and you're allowed to, yes, it's bare bones are something that it's always been. It's rooted in something, but it doesn't there's always going to be someone who's going to be a little bit more, I don't know, put a little bit more pizzazz on something. There's always going to be the guys who or the women who put a little bit more street on something. There's always going to be subgenres of the genres and there's always going to be people who cross genres. So it frustrates me when we take our black artists and we know that their music, and I'm speaking about specific people, I'm not speaking about all, but we know that their music is rooted in, like I said, rooted in rap, rooted in hip hop, rooted in R&B, rooted in soul and all of these things. And because of the fact that they get so big or they try out other genres or they do other things, they're now pop and they can't be whatever the thing is. The reality is they are multiple things at the same time. You may not agree with me, and I know I've never really taken such a strong stance to defend Drake, but I just kind of feel like he's probably like, well, leave me alone. Like, well, then go enjoy your very purist hip hop that you're clearly talking about. And that's that. And I respect Yasiin Bey very much and what his contribution has been to music. But I think when we start acting like music can't evolve and music can't change and music can't be a lot of different things, what are we doing?
Is it my go now?
You could have jumped in whenever you
Nah.
wanted to.
Gotta let people finish their points, including Most Def.
Drake is pop to me. In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
He was being
Commercial music.
shady.
Or it's shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course, I mean,
It's commercial, entertaining, fun, good, formulaic music.
It's likable.
Likable music, yeah.
It's likable.
But is it? I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move on.
So many products.
So many years.
He was being shady. He was being shady. You justify it all you want. He was being shady.
I love.
Hold on.
Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh, this is great. It's the new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses? What happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling. Where's the message that I can use?
Right.
You know, what's in it for your audience apart from like banging the pom poms?
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Okay, I wanted to play that last part, but sometimes you got to get through it to get to the end. He asked, "What's in it for your audience besides banging the pom poms?" He asked, "Are we at the end of the empire?" He's asking, "Where is the substance?" Yes, that is a purist mentality. There's no doubt about that. But we have been up here saying for basically the last 2 years that Drake has not been giving his audience anything. I think that is probably what made Drake mad. Not that Drake was called pop, because Drake knows he's pop. He's been saying that since his second album himself. He's been saying, since I went pop, blah, blah, blah. When a nigga goes pop, blah, blah, blah. Clearly not the blah, blah, blah parts. But Drake knows he's pop. So to say that that's why he responded, I don't think that's why he responded. I think he responded because of the other things that's probably what made him feel away. Also,
I also feel like, sorry, go ahead.
I feel like if you want to say something, say something. Why are you reposting Method Man? Say something. If you want to say something, Drake, you have access to cameras and a cell phone and a studio. If you want to address another MC who said something about you, because Drake wants us to know that he's an MC. He keeps reminding us that he's one of the best to ever pick up a pen. Then why haven't you picked up a pen? Why haven't you pressed record on a phone? Why do you need to use some old Method Man clip? And really, there's a lot in the gray area here because the woman asked Most Def, was Drake hip hop? Is Drake hip hop? Yes. That's not really a debate. Do you like that Drake is hip hop? That's a different question for Most Def. Do you like Drake's multi genre, not purist music? That's a different question for Most Def. And so I don't think Most Def, Yasiin, answered the question uh, like he should have. Yes, he was being shady, and so Drake is being shady back. I think it's all whack, honestly. I'm not gonna champion what Yasiin did, what Most Def did, because I mean, really, when he said, "Why are you doing this to me?" and paused, he probably should have just left it alone right there. That was probably the wiser option. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to bust some shots in a funny way, as we know he can be comedic. And so he decided to be comedic and witty and shady all at once. And so now Drake is doing the same back. But I feel like, but Drake, use your words.
Well, don't get me wrong. I think Drake is being passive aggressive. I said that at the very
Yeah,
beginning of this. I think that he's absolutely
of
being
course.
passive aggressive. But at the same time that he's being passive aggressive, Yasiin Bey started it.
I mean,
And
he was asked, yeah, yes, he
and
started, sure.
it was it was it was shady. It's like I would have actually listen, you want to get your jokes off, that's fine. But somebody like Yasiin Bey, who I think a lot of people really respect, myself included, I would have really liked to see them have a more thoughtful conversation about Drake's intersectionality rather than hear him talk about going shopping and that you hear Drake when you go to Target or Walmart, which is basically what he was alluding
But is he
to.
wrong?
And but to, to me, it doesn't really matter. And I think that the artists that, like, let's call it what it is, not everybody's going to get played in Target and Walmart. And while that may be to some people, that may be you're at the bottom, to some people that's not the
I don't think
case.
I don't think
There's a
anyone
reason
thinks that's the
why
bottom.
why there's a reason why. And when I say the bottom, I mean it's not respected, it's low, it's not um it's not as highbrow as the type of hip hop that Yasiin Bey makes. But Drake has done both.
But what has he done more?
I don't think it
In this case,
matters.
it does.
Drake Drake's career has spanned how many years? I can't even believe I'm sitting here having to defend Drake like this. But Drake's career has spanned how many years? There is one thing to say, hey, Drake put out an album and it was shitty, and I expect more from him as an artist. And then there's artists. Drake's made it, whether y'all like it or not.
I think that multiple
He
conversations.
went beyond a genre, and that's why I'm like, I don't really like. If you want to look down your nose at, you want to look down your nose at him because his career took off the way it did, and he became somebody who is known in most households as opposed to only the black households or only the hip hop lovers households. That's what you look down your nose at him for?
No, they're looking down their nose
I
at
think
him
that's
because he chased that, not because it just happened to happen, right? Like there are artists who, and I already said most there's multiple conversations happening, and Drake is hip hop. There's no disputing that. But in response to what you're saying, what they're looking down at is the fact that Drake chased mainstream appeal. Drake has constantly chased the new sound. Drake has constantly done things to be mainstream on purpose. There's a difference between when something is just a smash hit, right? Like if there's a song that is just a hit, cool, and then we push it because that's what marketing and marketing teams are supposed to do. Ice Spice was not chasing a Afrobeat sound. She didn't go chase the latest sound and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to make a cross genre hit because I know I can do it." No. She made a smash and everybody knows it now whether they're age appropriate and should know it or not. There's a difference. And that's what Most Def was saying. The problem is Most Def didn't respond the way that we all thought he would. Most Def responded in a shady way and had a convoluted conversation. That was the problem. Is he wrong about the music? No, he's not wrong. You're gonna hear Drake's music more in Target and Walmart than at some hip hop place, probably. Yeah, that part is true. But is Drake hip hop? Yeah, he's hip hop. There's no dispute that Drake is hip hop. Drake is hip hop. Do you like it? Different question. Do you support it? Different question. Do you enjoy the way that he approaches hip hop? Different question. That's not what he was asked, but he was also asked a vague question. He wasn't asked, is Drake's music hip hop music or pop? That would have been different. He wasn't asked that. He was asked a vague question, is Drake hip hop? Yeah, just not the kind that most Def would like to hear and see, probably being the face of hip hop globally. I'm sure that someone who was a star in the 90s is not very happy about Drake being the face of hip hop today. A half black man who does a lot of pop chasey music. I'm sure that bothers him. Yes, and that was pretty clear in his response. But there's no disputing that Drake is hip hop. Yes, we know Drake is hip hop. Absolutely. The things Method Man said in the video, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you perform, the music you make, all of those things make Drake hip hop. That is not up for discussion. That's easy to figure out. Different conversation than what Yasiin Bey did and said. And that's why I played it.
cool.
All right, folks, that was weeknights. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. We will see you tomorrow.